Welcome back, Fighting Dreamers, to today's bare goddamn minimum. As you can see, I've opened up tiermaker.com, a favourite from me and many other YouTubers who don't feel like editing today. This is the closest I come to a video holiday, where I just get to sit here with the format, the layout already done for me, and it's just time to rank these boys. And you. Shall we start with Mrs. Whittaker? I think we shall. There's a lot of tears here, and let's just be clear. I'm not a fan. I'm not a proponent of this era. There's not a single Doctor who goes into F. Not Dr. Screw, not any of the other porn parodies, Mr. Cushing. Most of these vacant from today's list. I really do like how we've just got the base boys and Mr. John Hurt, rest in peace. Well, it's not good news. Let's just say that. If I had written this list back in 2017, there would be a lot more of B and C talk, just out of sheer optimism rather than anything else. I've tried, and I found that every single time I try and stick my neck out for the Chibnall era, he breaks it. He does a real number on me. It makes me feel silly for trying. And characterization-wise, I expect more from the Doctor than what Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker have been offering. There's great individual scenes, there's great promise in there back in Series 11, but if I want 13th Doctor, I go to multimedia stories, and there was that little glimpse, a tiny little glimpse of the Doctor who I really, really did adore, who took a bit of a back seat, who was more of a secondary character, a tour guide, and with all the weight of the Capaldi years and the Moffat and the revival gone, all that baggage dropped, I thought maybe the 13th Doctor could really get back to the basics of the core of the programme. And then they immediately blew up Gallifrey and shoved her back up in old dynamics like Gallifrey angst and neglecting companions who adore you. I've watched Series 3, I loved Series 3, but I think its characterization beat should stay in 2007. Okay, Mr. Capaldi. It's just how it is, right? There's a real duality between Chibnall fans and Moffat fans, and as of late I found myself in that second camp. He's a late stage Doctor. He's actual development for a literary mythological character that Doctor Who is, and I think that's insane to do after so many years, so many decades. It's taken the character into new territory, it's wise, it's experienced, it's funny, it's surprising. This Doctor will always keep you on your feet, whether it's abandoning companions in Series 8 or decking a racist in Series 10. Outright just... Sometimes he gets very Moffat for its own good, but he's the best possible voice for Stephen Moffat's writing. A little bit even more so than Matt Smith, actually. And, okay, I can get funny, I can get very unfair with Mr. Smith's performance. The 11th Doctor is excellent. When he was on the air, I was smitten. He did wear on me, like he did for many in that back half, and he gets very, very absorbed and wrapped up in all the catchphrases and tweeisms. If you can overlook that, Matt Smith probably gives the best performance of any Doctor. The most nuanced one, let's say that. It's not a subtle performance, but there's so much there. The fact that you can believe such a young man is capable of coming across as such a immortal old granddad of a character. It's a young man pretending to be an old man pretending to be a young man. And some of the motifs they explore with 11, like him being a naughty demigod who doesn't realise that he hurts people and has a negative impact on the universe. Oh, I eat that stuff up. I'm not judging them by their episodes, I'm judging them by the character itself and what the character explores in their time on the programme, and the 11th incarnation deserves the beep slot. That surprises me even. I'm never out here really ranting about Matt Smith, but maybe I should be. Mr. Hurt. Okay, this one's going to be the first major surprise to the list, like a big upset even maybe. He's between S and A. I am absolutely in love with the War Doctor. For a year or two, I tried to be that guy who was like, oh, you're not, he's my favourite, he's my favourite. Hey, wasn't he just in one special, and didn't he get completely overshadowed by two of the most popular Doctors ever? Well, no. And that's exactly it. The fact that John Hurt, a renowned actor, David Lynch said he was the greatest actor the Earth has ever birthed. Whew. And the fact he doesn't get overshadowed at all by 10 and 11 is a miracle. And it's because even just with the few scenes he's allocated with the Moment or with Clara, I get it all. I get everything I need. And the bold decision to make the wartime Doctor, this evil secret incarnation, the hidden shame of the Doctors, to have him just be like the most lovely man, given the most unfair of circumstances. And for that to pull that 180 in just one special with so many other things it has to do, in his introduction episode, in his final episode, because it's also his regeneration story, it's the whole goddamn package. It's miracle storytelling. And of course, you'd need someone of John Hurt's caliber to do it. I'm glad we didn't get Eccleston back for the 50th. I can say that now, I guess. The War Doctor expanded material varies. Two of my favourite stories ever have the War Doctor in them, and it was reading Engines of War and listening to Only the Monstrous that made me think, oh, no, yeah, John Hurt can do Doctor stuff as well. He's not just this out there incarnation. He was the Doctor more than any of them when it was the hardest to get it right. And I think I've just convinced myself to S Frank. God damn it. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. It's not fair on the late John Hurt. I don't think he'd want to be an S rank, honestly, with his limited time with the programme. Okay, gets a bit trickier here. There's no Joe Martin, as some people may have noticed already. I like how we're not going too expansive with them, and you may think, isn't that a double standard, Sam? You love John Hurt. I wouldn't know what to do with Joe Martin's Doctor. Because we still haven't had a proper portrayal. It's inspired casting. I'll just say that for it. Everyone wants Joe Martin to succeed because it's such a great role, such a great pick for that role. But the Fugitive Doctor doesn't have anything added to offer than being violent and telling people to shut up. And it's such a shame. I'm not fussed about the Timeless Children backstory. The Fugitive, the Vision stuff doesn't interest me. So I'd even be tentative to read more Fugitive Doctor material. But it is coming out, and I will give it that chance. Because she cuts a strong silhouette. And if people want to fall in love with a design and a good bit of casting, who am I to stop them? She does not belong on this tier list because I wouldn't be able to rank her. I would not be able to rank her. Oi, oi, oi. May call me Mr. Tenoyan. I don't know what I'm talking about. Of course I do. He's my childhood absolute hero. Few things have imprinted on a nation the way that David Tennant's Doctor did. And my argument for placing him in S isn't he's iconic, or I was a kid at the time. It's because I went off Tennant in a major way. Never quite to the degree a lot of people seem to have in the fandom. But then returning as an adult, coming off of the Moffat era and being like, oh, multi-series character developments. And then you start seeing it everywhere in Russell's run. Russell's Doctors are beautiful. I've penned entire video essays about how interwoven 10's story is, from the vanity to the curse of immortality, having a domestic hub. It all links and it all builds. And for that reason, yeah, he can be just as quippy and catchphrasy and sometimes a little bit cringe as Smith. But the character works there, and the love, like my the love in my heart is there. If I had to travel with a Doctor, like, fuck, would it be Tennant? It'd probably be this mad bad right here. But if I had to pick a Doctor, a favourite Doctor, and my Doctor, we'll get to that at the end. Yeah? Went a bit off the rails there. Beaming about my favourite, my childhood icon. I just wanted to be David Tennant as a kid. I didn't even want to be 10. Okay, 9. Just gonna put him down there because there's things to consider here too. Again, my first ever Doctor. How do you abandon your first ever Doctor? You don't. At the same time, the fact that Eccleston's come back for more stories, I think, has weakened him slightly in my eyes. It's such a privilege hearing Eccleston in the role, but it's definitely made 9 less special. And that's not just because it was this exclusive part of the show for so many years, it's also because the stories don't feel special, and it makes 9 just less valuable, no? Also the fact that they really sort of suck up to Eccleston as an actor. So many of the stories seem to be written for him as a man, rather than his character. But it's a testament to how much Eccleston got the role right out the gates. He's an unconventional cast. He's nothing like the show's ever seen before and seen since. Through performance alone, he drags up some of the worst episodes in the revival and makes them staples. He's A, right? I'm having a crisis over here. Possibly B. I think I'm going to go with B. And I'm going to regret that much later, I can just tell now. Paul McGann. Tricky one. He's been so many different Doctors. As I said in my retrospective, maybe this is me capping off my retrospectives even. How do you rank a Doctor who has been around for so long and tried so many different formats and writing tones and audiences? He's been everything a Doctor can be. And I like all of them. I'm going to put him in B. Because there is that inconsistency, because you never quite know what H you're going to get, and some versions I don't outright do not like. The current Big Finish Time War era state for 8 is just him. It's McGann at his most bored. And there's some great stuff in there, but you have to really catch him on a good day with the right material. The EDAs, again, it's like when he hasn't got amnesia, he's flitting between personality traits, and it's the Doctor cranked up to 100, like everything was in those wilderness years. It's uneven, but it's exciting. He's an exciting Doctor to follow. My favourite version of him comes from the comics, but that's, again, that really is childhood bias, because that's what I grew up reading, the Doctor Who magazine comic line for him, where he's just this standalone, sad figure. McGann can convince you of all of it, which makes me want to put him higher, but I won't this time. Not this time. McCoy. Okay, another big upset. McCoy is in C tier, quite firmly. I don't like the Trickster 7. I don't like it. It's not grown on me. When you first start getting into Classic, you think, oh, it's so cool that one of them's just like this awful little demigod, this terrible schemer man. And I like it when he's sad, because he's made all of his friends leave. I like it when he's not depicted as omnipotent and utilitarian. But at the same time, it does make him very one-note. Those later seasons on TV, it results in infuriating storytelling, and the expanded media loved that part of him, which is why you get shit like Time Ruin. I like early McCoy. I like Troughton-style, Chaplin copy, silly man. I really do. He's a little bit despondent. There's a sad clown to him, which you do find in all Doctors, but I think strongest in him. There's more variety. Stories that push Seven out of his comfort zone are some of the best. They can make me fall in love with McCoy all over again. I'm trying to think of some examples off the top of my head, and I'm absolutely failing. But as an actor, he's either super limited, or he really surprises you. And I think it's the same on the script as well. Everyone's got this fan conception idea of who Seven is, and it just bores me after a while. One note, honestly. Okay. You have to balance the expanded media with the television stuff. You have to. I don't ever buy that it's a consistent character arc between evening him out, calming him down. I don't buy it, but from that first season alone, you can't put Colin Baker in S tier. It's not fair. Again, it wasn't fair on him on a production angle, but there's more to an actor than... There's more to a performance than just the actor, rather. Big Finish, they bring him back all the way from E or F, and they drag him into A. Not to say there's bad stuff on television for Colin. No, the Sixth Doctor really does win me over in stories like Mysterious Planet and Mind Warp. The second he gets more palatable and the show isn't trying to shock you with how different he is, you realise he's a proto-12 with all the kindness and sweetness, and finding out he's one of the more vulnerable and human Doctors as well. It catches you. It's a real surprise. So, Big Finish have done both of these Doctors, in my opinion. These two here, 5 and 6, crazy justice. 5 was my boyhood Doctor, along with 10 right here. I can say that about all of them. I can say that about 3 even. So you love him as a kid, and then when I get a little bit deeper into his era, I start getting annoyed that the cattiness, being out of breath, not seeming to like any of the companions he's around, it doesn't go very far. Again, it's not so much variety. Big Finish don't get enough credit for how they lifted up the Davison era, pulled it out of the muck, and made it some of the best Who ever. Of course, I can't put him in A. I'm not. I think he's done just as well as Colin Baker out of the whole Big Finish stuff. But I don't hate him anymore now either. I just wish on TV there was more range and more dynamicism. As he stands, I still do get similar vibes from these two. Just feckless and out of breath and not doing too much. The facade of youth holds him back on television rather than leads to interesting stuff. I'm going to put him in C. Even though, again, I've got to stress, some of the Big Finish stuff I've listened to with 5 has become my favourite stuff Big Finish I've ever put out. I need to stop talking about Big Finish. They are really dominating this discussion. Tom! You don't need to talk about the multimedia with Tom because there's so much TV stuff to go off of, and so many different versions of 4 throughout those 7 years. Oh, I like all of them. I think the TV show hits depressing Saturday evening tea time chronicles a bit around this point. And the Doctor definitely plays into that. The sunniness of the Harry and Sarah years, and then with Leela, he turns into a completely different man. A magical character. I think he nails being a children's hero the most out of anyone on this list. And well, time is a testament to that, isn't it? Because he's the most iconic Doctor thing going. Again, it's another case of never knowing which version of 4 you're going to get. The one who's going through divorce issues, behind the scenes, production drama with Romana. It factors on screen, and that's the thing. When 4 and Tom Baker aren't enjoying themselves, you see it on screen, and it does affect the Doctor. People have made headcanons just because Tom Baker became so unhappy in the role. And those stories are some of my least favourite Doctor Who. When you get 4 wrong, you can really get him wrong, but when you get him right, it's goddamn Tom Baker. It's the 4th Doctor. I'm going to put him in B. Yeah, that feels right. That feels right. Some of the highest highs and lowest lows. But then I think about the pairing of him and Douglas Adams, and I think about how every single line in City of Death is magic because of him, and how he could inject even just a little bit of childlike wonder into the most dry of serials. God damn it! I do this every time. No, I'm putting him in B. You gotta have some self-control. Otherwise this will start getting real populated up here. And then how am I ever gonna look Chris Eccleston in the eye when I see him on the subway? What? Okay, John Pertwee. A Doctor unlike all the others. If you like the Third Doctor's era, if you like the unit years, you like this... you're a different kind of fan. You're a different breed. It's all so likeable. It's all so consistent, his era. But this is about the Doctor. And again, very inconsistent. Consistency is becoming a real thing for me when you're judging them as complete packages of characters, I guess. The contradictions between British imperialism, but also having plots written by Buddhists where he's an eco-fascist or battling the evils of conservative British society. Man, oh man. C. We all feeling pretty solid about that? Let's be clear here. There's 2 extra tiers here that no one's going into. Jodie Whittaker really should be here, but the multimedia props are up a bit. So let's just make it clear. C is a passing grade. These are all like treasured childhood icons, and I love them all dearly. The fact that I've written video essays about every single one of these dudes tells you that I love all of them. And respect them as characters as well. If I included like any other series, if I was putting like a Star Wars tier list, that I'd have to make new tiers below F, just to show you how much of a gap there is between Doctor Who and most fiction. So don't get mad at me that Jon Pertwee is in C tier. It's very much Jon Pertwee as Jon Pertwee. He's not playing a character, and I'm not entirely sure if I always like Jon Pertwee. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Boy. Mr. Troughton, as I'm on the record of saying, is the progenitor of Doctor Who. He wasn't the first, but he was the one who absolutely nailed the formula, and everybody since him has been copying his take on the character. Dark, trickster, clown. It's that easy. You never know how Troughton's going to handle a scene. He has true unpredictable energy, whilst being the most unassuming version of the character yet. Oh, he's just so funny and delightful. In the same way most people say Tom Baker can make any episode charming, at the very least, even if it's not good, charming. I am absorbed on the screen when Troughton is on. I got through the Space Pirates because I was promised little pockets of Troughton doing his thing. It's such a shame. It's such a shame that we don't have more of his visual performances in the archive. But it doesn't matter. Seriously, here's an idea. Try pick up a Troughton book, a bit of multimedia, and then picture how 2 acts in your head. Like try and think how he would play the scene. And there's such multiplicity to it that's when I cracked. That's when I realised, oh, Patrick Troughton, he's the Doctor. More than anyone else. He probably just is the Doctor. These big sweeping statements. I mean, who has a problem with Troughton? Some people have a problem with the Hartnell era. Some people don't like his eras or his take on the Doctor. But I just find it ages better and better every day. It's filled with charisma and there's so much charm. There's personality to the first Doctor and his companions and his relationships that you won't find for the next 40 years of the programme. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm putting him in A tier because I was wowed by how much Hartnell had to offer so early back in the day. He's not a very flexible Doctor. I do have to say, you can't throw different genres of sci-fi at him in the same way you could throw cyberpunk at 8. They threw Space Marines and dark cosmic horror at 1, and he doesn't. You can't adapt him to darker source material, really. Those are great stories, but the Doctor doesn't stretch far. A very tight young... what am I saying? Don't end that sentence there and then. Hartnell is not young or tight, but he is an amazing Doctor. Okay, let's look it over. 3 Doctors in S tier. That wasn't a surprise. I've been hyping up my favourite Doctors for years on this channel, and I don't think it should really come as a surprise to anyone. I will not pick a favourite between Troughton, Tennant and Capaldi. I refuse. I do like them for very similar reasons, though, I do have to say. A, it's very scattershot. Those are just excellent Doctors, who I want to say are also my favourite Doctor. It depends what mood I'm in. But those are 3 very different takes on the character there. Yep. Also, the chronology is going to piss someone off, I can just tell, so let me fix your OCD worries here. Sorry, they're in chronological order now. So sorry. Okay. B tier. I haven't got a bad word to say about them. I mean, other than those negative criticisms I said about them. Their eras can get a bit patchy. There's some things which can hold them back, but let's be clear. Those things are only holding them back from being some of the best performances Doctor Who can ever come up with. Near perfect. B and C tier, I'm going to be honest, that's still pretty near perfect. These tiers aren't representative of my thoughts, or my heart. C tier. These are great Doctors, and all of them I grew up with as a young boy, but they're for other people. These are different takes on the character which I've never vibed with as an adult. Yeah. My favourite versions, my favourite takes on them are when they break character completely, and they're made to do something completely different. When 3 does have to show sadness at Joe leaving, when 5 has to stop huffing around and actually be nice to his companions, or tender with Adric. I love it. When 7 stops scheming and he is actually nice to Ace, or he realises that all of his plan making gets him nowhere in life. These are the best versions of the characters, but they're not accepted very much by fan writers or the fans. And it makes me sad. I don't like the optics, I don't like the predictability of putting Miss Whittaker at the lowest grade of them, but it comes down to Chibnall, and it comes down just a little bit to Jodie Whittaker. I love the actress, I love her other work, deeply in fact, and by all the stars were aligned for a totally brand new Doctor, but it seems that this era didn't have anything new to offer. Apart from Scott Gray and Jodie Hauser and those amazing comic writers who I implore you to, dig out their stuff. It'll make you fall in love with the fam, for God's sake. And there we go. Doctor Who. There's the Doctors. I would put Peter Cushing about... Let's make a new one. Let's give him his own tier. Cushing tier. There it is. Perfect. That's him. This was stressful. You ever realise you've been planning a video for years in the back of your head and then you just wing it in one take? I can't do one takes, guys. I'm not good at it. And I've just done it here. Okay, they're all family to me. They're all Doctor Who. And those are my favourites. Peace.